If World War III is fought in the shadows, then one of the most powerful players in that war is already preparing for it. Not with tanks crossing borders, not with missiles flying across oceans, but with technology, cyber power, and control over the global economy. China is not simply another nation in the digital battlefield. It is a rising superpower determined to reshape the balance of global power. With a population of more than 1.4 billion people, China represents nearly 18% of the world's population. Its scale alone gives it enormous influence over global markets, technology, and international politics. Under the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party, China has made it clear that its goal is to become the dominant power on the world stage. To achieve that goal, Beijing has combined economic strength, technological development, and military modernization into a unified national strategy. But in the invisible war, one of China's most powerful tools is cyber capability. China has invested heavily in cyber operations, intelligence gathering, and digital surveillance. These capabilities allow it to monitor its own population, control information inside its borders, and conduct cyber operations far beyond them. Cyber intrusions attributed to Chinese actors have targeted governments, corporations, research institutions, and telecommunications companies around the world. These operations are not random acts of hacking, they are strategic. By penetrating networks and gathering intelligence, cyber units can collect valuable information about emerging technologies, national security systems, and industrial capabilities. In the invisible war, knowledge is power, and cyber espionage allows nations to acquire that power quietly. China has also expanded its influence through global supply chains. Many of the technologies that power modern life depend heavily on Chinese manufacturing and processing. China plays a central role in industries such as semiconductors, batteries, solar panels, pharmaceuticals, and rare earth minerals. These materials are essential to everything from smartphones and electric vehicles to military equipment and advanced electronics. Control over these resources provides leverage. In times of geopolitical tension, the ability to restrict supply chains can become a powerful strategic weapon. China has demonstrated that it understands this advantage. Its government has encouraged the expansion of domestic semiconductor production, with dozens of new chip factories planned to increase its share of global manufacturing. At the same time, China dominates the mining and processing of rare earth elements, materials that are critical to modern technology and defense systems. These economic dependencies create vulnerabilities for other nations. In the invisible war, control of resources can shape the battlefield just as much as control of weapons. China's cyber strategy also extends into influence and information operations. Cyber tools can be used not only to gather intelligence, but also to shape public opinion, monitor dissidents, and influence global narratives. Chinese authorities have monitored critics, journalists, and activists beyond their borders through digital surveillance and cyber intrusions. The purpose is not only security, it is control. Control of information, control of technology, control of influence. In the context of the Y War, this approach represents a new kind of power projection. Rather than relying solely on military confrontation, a nation can expand its influence through technology, economic leverage, and cyber operations. These actions rarely trigger traditional military responses. They unfold quietly, often below the threshold of open conflict. Yet their impact can be enormous. A cyber intrusion can expose sensitive intelligence. A disrupted supply chain can weaken industries. A manipulated information campaign can influence public opinion across entire nations. In the invisible war, power is not measured only by missiles or aircraft carriers. It is measured by control over data, networks, and global systems. China understands this reality. Its investments in technology, cyber capabilities, and strategic industries reflect a long-term vision of global influence. And in a world increasingly dependent on digital infrastructure, that influence carries enormous weight. The AI war is already shaping the future of global competition. Nations are racing to secure technological dominance, protect their digital infrastructure, and defend against cyber intrusion. China stands at the center of that competition, not as a distant observer, but as one of its most powerful participants. Because in the war of the future, control of networks may matter as much as control of territory. And the nations that master the digital battlefield may ultimately shape the world that follows. But the most dangerous part of this conflict is that it rarely looks like war. There are no battle lines, no explosions, no headlines declaring that the conflict has begun. Instead, it unfolds quietly, through supply chains, through data networks, through cyber operations no one ever sees. And while the world debates trade disputes, technology bans, and political tensions, A far more important struggle may already be underway, a struggle for control of the digital systems that power modern civilization. Because the nation that dominates those systems may not just win the next war, it may shape the future of the world itself.